welcome to Brian360. I said hello, welcome to Brian3. 1 second. There we go, that's better. Welcome to Brian360, and welcome to the ferry ride from Nassau in the Bahamas to Pearl Island. This is a 360 video, and if you are watching on a television and you can't move the view around, unfortunately, don't watch this video, because this is what you're going to see the entire video, just this view. It's not going to change. This is meant for 360 only. If you are still with me, then take a quick view to the left, and that is the Atlantis Resort on Paradise Island. Like all 360 videos, you control the view, so look up, down, left, right. And very importantly, please set the resolution to the highest quality possible. It will make your viewing experience much better than the default that YouTube usually gives you. And as always, the begging part of the video where I ask you to like, subscribe, and sign up for notifications. If you look forward or up, you'll see the bridge that leads from Nassau on New Providence Island to Paradise Island, where you'll find the Atlantis Resort as well as Cabbage Beach. I have a video on my channel that has a 360 drive over that bridge. The bridge that we are approaching in a few seconds, that is the bridge that leads back to Nassau from Paradise Island. I learned two things while on the ferry ride from Nassau to Pearl Island. The first is that wind can play havoc with your camera. As my little stunt at the beginning of this video showed, I thought I was recording decent video, and it just turned into a mess. The gentleman standing near the center of the boat in the light yellow shirt is giving us a tour. And he's telling us about the Bahamas, about Paradise Island, about Pearl Island, about New Providence Island, and you can't hear anything that he was saying. So to get rid of that nasty wind sound, I muted the audio from the boat ride and replaced it with the music from the Island Street Boys, Rupert and Gary, the gentlemen who provided the soundtrack for our vacation. If you want to see their videos, I have them on my channel as well. Luckily, we had the same tour guide on our return trip from Pearl Island, and the audio was much better. However, I got a terrible seat, so the video was much worse. And that brings me to the second thing I learned on my day trip to Pearl Island. If you are planning on heading to Pearl Island for the day trip that we did, sit on the left side or port side of the boat on the trip to Pearl Island. You'll see some beautiful houses in a minute or two, and that's really what the focus of the tour is. On the way back from Pearl Island back to Nassau, sit on the opposite side. You want to sit on the right side or the starboard side. As I was recording this video, thinking I was capturing all the audio from the gentleman in the yellow shirt, I thought, this will be great. He's rhyming off the owners of the houses, millionaires, billionaires, singers, actors, talk show host, athletes, former owner of a very large computer software company. I thought, this is great, this will be a great video, and then I ran into the audio problems. On the way back, I thought I had solved all the audio problems, but not entirely. So, I consulted the internet, I consulted YouTube just to make sure I got the right names for the owners of these houses. However, there are some discrepancies. And when we come up to a house that supposedly has two owners, I'll mention those two owners. So the first house that has an owner, coming up anyway, that whose ownership was mentioned, is this house right now, just to the left, a white roof. That was formerly owned by Mary Kay, the head of the cosmetics company. And supposedly that house used to be painted pink, along with her car and pretty much everything else she owned. As I mentioned earlier, we are on this ferry as part of the day trip to Pearl Island from Nassau. There are plenty of other excursions that you can do if you are visiting the Bahamas. Like many of the Caribbean islands, and I know the Bahamas is not part of the Caribbean, the Bahamas has other similar tourist attractions such as parasailing, going on a yacht to a private beach for a day, fishing excursions, culinary and cultural tours, some on foot, some on ATVs, and of course things like swimming with the turtles. A very popular excursion for tourists is swimming with the pigs. It generally involves a boat ride to an island where there are a number of pigs who enjoy playing in the surf and hanging out with tourists apparently. We didn't do this excursion, however it seems to be a fairly popular option given the number of tours that are available to do it. Now, according to one source on the internet, this house coming up directly to the left of the boat, to the right of the yacht, was once owned by Elvis Presley. So it wasn't the gentleman on our tour who mentioned this, but someone else on YouTube. Now, getting back to the tourist options. For a guy like myself who likes history, there are 3 forts on New Providence Island to explore: Charlotte, Montague, and Fincastle, as well as the Queen's Staircase that leads to Fort Fincastle. Shortly on this ferry ride, we will pass Fort Montague. Now, supposedly there is Blackbeard's Tower that was inhabited by the infamous pirate Edward Teach. It shows up on Google Maps, and we attempted to find it, but it looks like it's buried in some inaccessible wooded area with no roads leading to it. There are also lots of museums, art galleries, and of course shopping to cater to the tourists. Of course, if water parks are your thing, then there is the Atlantis Resort, which we already passed on Paradise Island at the beginning of this video. There is also the Bahamas Resort and the Fins Up Water Park in Nassau. Even if you are not a guest of Atlantis or Bahamas, you can purchase a day pass to visit. It's not cheap, but there's a lot to do and a pretty good way to fill up your day. If you have the time and probably more importantly the money, you can get off of New Providence Island and go visit some of the islands of the Bahamas, notably Eleuthera and Exuma. These islands offer some incredible beaches, not that New Providence doesn't have incredible beaches, but if you want to get away from some of the hustle and bustle of New Providence Island, these are good options as well. This is one of the rare times in this video where we will look off to the right side of the boat, and in the distance, it is quite distant, so a little tough to see, is Fort Montague. So this fort is featured in one of my videos, actually 2, a 360 and a flat video, and the purpose of this fort was to protect the port of Nassau from ships entering from the east and sailing west to potentially attack Nassau. So it's a very small fort. Please check out my other videos, Fort Montague, just to see how small it is and to get a very nice view of this area and see Paradise Island from the vantage point of Fort Montague. Now, coming into view, just behind the tour guide is a house with a white boat out front. That is the house of martial artist and movie star Chuck Norris. And his next door neighbor with the kind of beige house with an orangey roof is singer Shakira, whose hips apparently don't lie. Now, depending on your sources, the next house with the orange roof and lighter lower portion either belongs to another martial artist and film star Jackie Chan, or it belongs to actor and Ghost Rider Nicolas Cage. Now we are getting to the really expensive homes. Now I know the other houses were really expensive too, but now we are in billionaire territory. Just above the tour guide's head is a white domed house, and there is a house right beside that one to the right. Those houses belong to the same person, talk show host, billionaire, producer, actress, woman of many talents, Oprah Winfrey. So, if you are a guest of Oprah's, you will be staying in the house on the right as she lives in the house on the left. If you are a guest, wave to the poor people on the boat headed to Pearl Island. So there are three possible owners for this next large white house with a dark roof. Either NBA superstar and Major League Baseball player Michael Jordan, Saul Kirsner, who is the owner of the Atlantis resort, or Lenny Kravitz. Now, Lenny Kravitz, come on, he's not like he's an Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Ozzy Osbourne. Could he buy this house? Maybe. I don't know. The owner remains a mystery. Their next-door neighbor in this kind of yellowish house is Sylvester Stallone, of Rocky and Rambo fame. I'm recording this a couple days after the death of Carl Weathers, who of course played Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies and helped make those movies so good. So rest in peace, Carl Weathers. I mentioned earlier that we are now in billionaire territory, and the two white houses on the right, just up the coast, belong to musicians Beyonce and Jay-Z. Of course, they are now the owners of Spotify. So Beyonce, formerly of Destiny's Child, and Jay-Z of... I'm being told it is Jay-Z. Beyonce and Jay-Z, but it's spelled Jay-Z. Okay, we'll go with Jay-Z. Beyonce and Jay-Z. Apparently my Canadian is showing. To the right of Beyonce live Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson. Not together, of course, in separate houses. That wouldn't work. They're rivals. Another source says Tom Cruise lives here. Sure, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Oprah Winfrey, yes, they're billionaires. But now we are in super billionaire territory. The last 7 houses on the eastern side of Paradise Island belong to one man, or maybe 3.5 belong to him, now that he's divorced as of 2021. Maybe Melinda has 3.5 and he has 3.5. I don't know how the settlement went. Anyway, Bill Gates, former CEO of Microsoft, and formerly the richest man on the planet. These 7 houses belong to Bill, or 3.5, depending on how the math worked out. Anyway, if you are visiting Bill and or Melinda, maybe, I guess you have your choice of which house you want to stay in. You can only live in one at a time, so enjoy. And that's it. This is where all the millionaires and billionaires live on Paradise Island that I know of. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, some of the information was a little bit sketchy depending on which website, which video you watched. Sometimes there were multiple owners to one house. Who knows? With that, this ends the tour of the multi-million-dollar houses of Paradise Island. The next 12 minutes of the video will be the remainder of the trip to Pearl Island, and then I have added a few minutes of the return trip back into the port of Nassau at the very end of the video. If you have stuck it out and have had enough of listening to my voice droning on, then thank you very much for watching this video. If you'd like to hear a little bit more about Pearl Island, I'm going to chat about that now. At the risk of sounding like a pitchman for the Pearl Island tourism experience, I would definitely recommend the Pearl Island day trip from Nassau. As of February 2024, it's $115 US for people 13 and older, and $70 for children. I would recommend taking the earliest ferry you can get. Ours was around 10 o'clock or 10:30 in the morning, and we got back to Nassau around 5 o'clock that evening. If you buy the same package that we did, snorkeling and lunch are included. Lunch wasn't bad. If I recall correctly, it was chicken, fish, rice, and vegetables. It wasn't a huge lunch, so you might want to bring some additional snacks with you. There are a few bars on the island, so you can get plenty of drinks, but I don't think there were many food options available for purchase. For us, I would say the highlight of the trip was definitely snorkeling with the fish. One of my favorite videos on my channel is the Pearl Island guided snorkeling tour video, so please check that out. My recommendation would be to book the trip as soon as you get off the ferry, because there are designated times. So when you walk off the pier from the boat, take a left. That will take you to the snorkeling area where you can book your trip. By doing it this way, you can then go enjoy the beach for a little bit, do your snorkeling tour, then have lunch. You can either walk the rest of the island, see the iguanas, or head back to the beach before your day is over. The beach has a limited number of kayaks and paddle boards, so if you're there early, you'll be able to get onto those, play around with those for a little bit, then do the snorkeling tour. Pearl Island is not very big, so it's a nice short walk from end to end. If you're not afraid of heights and can climb some stairs, then definitely go up the lighthouse for a nice view of the island and the surrounding area. In addition to my snorkeling video, I also have a few videos of Pearl Island, including the view from the lighthouse, hanging out with the iguanas on the other side of the island, and just walking around and hearing the waves and the birds. It's certainly a nice experience. My one critique about the day trip was the organization of the ferry ride, both going to Pearl Island and then returning back to Nassau. On our trip in the morning, we were told to arrive about half an hour before the ferry left. We got there probably 40 minutes before I left, and then standing around for more than an hour until the ferry was ready for us to head out to Pearl Island. The return trip was kind of even worse. Not kind of, it was. There is a chalkboard near the pier on Pearl Island that tells you the return trip times depending on which ferry you took to the island in the morning. And it was a mess. There were people from multiple ferries, all returning on the same one in the afternoon. And then when the ferry did get back to Nassau, it dropped us off at a different spot than we had taken it in the morning. So hoping to get a better view of the houses on Paradise Island on the return trip, I wanted to sit on the right side of the boat. However, we were jammed in there like sardines, and there wasn't much of an option to sit on the side that I wanted, unfortunately. They kept packing more and more people onto the boat, to the point where I wasn't too sure if it would float anymore. However, it did. We all arrived safe and sound up to Nassau, but kind of not a great way to end the day. So other than that one critique, I would highly recommend the trip to Pearl Island, either with just adults or with children as well. My kids were teenagers, they had a great time. I'm sure if you have younger children, they'll have a great time too. Probably not for the snorkeling, but they'll definitely enjoy the beach. And of course the iguanas were pretty cool too. You could feed the iguanas, get into the pen with them, kind of a neat interactive experience. As a guy who was trying to capture underwater wildlife with his 360 camera during the 2 weeks in the Bahamas, this was certainly the best experience for that. And yes, I realize it's kind of a fabricated, manufactured experience where the tour guides are throwing food to the fish, but it's certainly a neat adventure when you are in the middle of a school of fish and they are just swarming around you going kind of crazy. It's nice, especially if they're not piranhas, I guess. So, like I mentioned before, please check out that other video. It's certainly one of my favorites and is one of the most popular ones by views anyway. To finish off the narrated part of this video, in about 6 minutes or so, we will arrive at the Pearl Island Pier. Off to the right, you'll see the beach that is there. There are a couple of other beaches, but that's kind of the main one. To the left is where you want to go if you want to book your snorkeling tour right away. I have added a few minutes at the end of this video which shows the return trip back to the port of Nassau, and we will circle around some massive cruise ships that are parked there. If you have made it this far, thank you very much for listening to me for so long. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please check out my other ones, especially of the Bahamas. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and take care.
Bahamas could bounce back up, your friend, bouncing back, reggae. It's a Bahamian jungle. You can say what you want to say, do what you want to do. Don't let nobody stress you out. You can say what you want to say, do what you want to do. Don't let nobody stress you out. Like your mama, your papa, your uncle, your brother, your sister, even your neighbors too. Telling you what to do, what to say, what to wear. Don't let nobody stress you out. You can say what you want to say, do what you want to do. Don't let nobody stress you out. Like your mama, your papa, your uncle, your brother, your sister, even your children too. Telling you what to do, what to say, what to wear. Don't let nobody stress you out. Come and stress, 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 stress. Don't let nobody stress you out. Come and stress, yeah man. Listen here, brother. All over Russia, down in Ukraine, high cost of living, high price of gasoline. Everybody don't know inflation's on the rise. Listen, everybody, it ain't a surprise. Say what you wanna say, do what you wanna do. Don't let nobody stress you out. Come and stress, 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 stress. All around the world, stress, stress, come and stress. Don't start mess up Grand Bahama. Report Grand Bahama.
Oh yeah, mama, bouncing back again. Grand Bahama, bouncing back again. Grand Bahama is bouncing back again. Tell it to your neighbors, go tell it to your friends. All over the island, as you could